I've been speaking with the financial and economic expert, Tunde Olatunji, as we focus on the depreciation of the naira against the dollar. Mr. Olatunji, let's move on with this conversation. I mean, a lot has been said, but let me have your estimate of the fair value of the naira. I'm asking this question because there are predictions the naira will trade above 1,000 naira to the dollar at the NAFEM window for the most part of this year, and about 1,500 naira to 1,800 naira at the parallel market. What's your take on this weighing it against the proposed rates in the 2024 budget?
For me, I would want to be on the path of, working towards achieving the basis for which we have developed a national budget. And why is this so? You see, the market forces also respond to, predictions, the response to positions that is being championed by leadership and outside. And as a patriotic Nigerian, for me, I don't pray for a day that the currency of my country will be trading at those, figures that is being assumed. Because I believe so strongly that if we're focused, if we are consistent with our policies, if we are sincere, if with the right leadership, with the right people in the system, Nigeria has no business doing those abysmal figures. Even the 800 is a cost-reflective, basis because we cannot continue to have budget without the right assumptions. So I agree with that. But for us to begin to look at it trading beyond that figure, and then we're also, supporting some of those propositions. For me, Nigeria is really so blessed, and we have all the potentials that we should not do badly beyond the figures that we're looking at if we address these issues. And that's why we have talked about, if today, I see no reason why Nigeria should not be self-sustaining in oil and gas production before the middle of this year, 2024. We see what a refinery is starting in Lagos. We can see what the government is doing with its own local refinery. So the question is that if we take out oil, which is the number one, item taking forex in this country legitimately, why should we be expecting more for it? Simply means we're not ready to address those non-economic forces that are bringing our economy. And of course, I strongly believe that the government also knows that the impact of this depreciation on all of its effort, it should not be something that is condoned. So with firm leadership in place, I see no reasons. Once all of the economic factors are put in place, and we're ready to deal decisively with those who are committed, who are dedicated to bringing Nigeria on its knee. I see no reason why we should do beyond that 800. I mean, obviously, because the question is, some of the figures that we see today, they're artificial to a large extent. Trading at 1,003. I want to give an instance. There was in this country, naira lost value with about 30%. When there is no economic major activity, no major incident, nothing significant happened. We just slept and we woke up and it lost that value. We've also seen a time in the past administration that suddenly, overnight, we slept and we woke up and then naira gained. The question is this: was there any major inflow into the treasury of this, into our foreign exchange, into our forex reserve? None. Was there any major economic happening overnight? Nothing happened. So what was responsible? Nobody could explain. It appeared like some people just sat down somewhere and began to fix the rates. And so for me, I've always had I've always had cause to argue about how well the figures at times. If you want to look at all the forces that dictate the value of currency of any country, if we want to go by that alone, I don't think that naira should be doing badly the way it is doing. So I don't want to agree with those figures, not because, but if nothing is done, of course, it has always been free fall. Since naira started falling from 70 kobo to $1 in 1980s, for the last 40 years, there has been over 1,000% loss in value. So if something is not done to address it, what will happen? Even the 1,500 can be a child's play. It could go more. But I know that as a nation, I know that as a people, it is not to our benefit. We are not proud of the fact that our currency is losing value, and we all have a role to play. The government must lead in the front, and every one of us must support this. We must say no to all activities that is bleeding our economy. We must say no to arbitrage on our local currency. We must say no to stockpiling, foreign exchange for no, just for personal reasons. We must equally ensure that we don't begin to substitute our local currency for foreign. For heaven's sake, Nigeria does not print US dollars. For every US dollars in this country that you want to have, we must earn it. We must also put stop to any form of trading activity. We know that it's not legal, but it's still happening. And of course, thank God we have agencies like the FCC and ICPC, and these are sectors they need to look into. There's no reason why anything should trade on the soil of Nigeria in dollars. There's no reason why anybody should go anywhere and you are paying money in dollars. It should be it's a crime and it should be treated as such. And of course, until there are consequences to some of these actions, and then of course it will continue the way it is, and everybody continues to suffer for it. If some people can afford to live with it, I'm sure quite a number of people cannot afford to live with it. And of course, the focus, and that is what it means that we want to have it. The truth is that until we begin to see results, people will not commend leadership. I've been in so many institutions where, like would say, when we put in effort to make things to be in place and you have sleepless nights, you don't get commended. Management doesn't recognize that. The reward is that nobody celebrates effort until we see results. But I know that there's a lot of work that's been done, and we must ensure that the government sustain that policy so that we can see the result at the end. And that's when Nigerians would clap and say, we are happy that the right thing has been done. But I know a lot is going into that.
So, allow me come in from this angle, because some financial experts have said this is also a factor. They say the naira has been fluctuating in the forex market since the Central Bank of Nigeria floated the country's currency on the 14th of June. As an economist, what do you think was wrong with that policy?
There's nothing wrong in floating a currency. But again, if you look at the macroeconomic indices around the country, it's not also going to be totally healthy for the central bank to float currency and go to sleep. You can wake up suddenly and dollar could be trading for 5,000, because we have all agreed that we're yet to stamp out the impact of non-economic activities, particularly I would call them economic saboteurs on our economy. So if you leave it at that without having the right framework that will guide it, without having the right oversight, and I mean, you cannot just allow the currency of the value of your currency to float just anyhow as it is presently, because we are here to streamline everything. We are here to really put what is happening in the forex window in the forex sector of the Nigerian economy is still largely dominated by the black market. So with that, you cannot totally just leave it, and that's why while it is true that there has been free floating of our currency, I'm sure that the CBN is also still in a way not allowing it to be a total floating. They're still having the right over, and which is necessary for now, because the macroeconomic indices does not support a total free flow. The saboteurs are still having their way, and so. But when we are able to boost our liquidity, when we are able to plug the source of leakages, when we are able to ensure that the activities of the saboteurs have been put under check, and those who wants to defy the odds will have consequences, and we're totally in charge of our foreign exchange earnings and all of that, then of course it can be totally dictated by the forces of demand and supply.
Well, but I'm sure you're aware that the investors and businesses are faced with this reality of hedging against forex volatility. I mean, the pass-through impact on imported inflation holds far more dire consequences. And the situation is now exacerbated by this lingering cash scarcity. What sort of response do you expect from the CBN?
On the area of, you see, Nigeria is we're just blessed with a country that we have a resilient economy and people are resilient. Otherwise, you see, the combination of some of these economic maladies quite a number of countries can't even survive it. The scarcity of cash as it is today is something that I will expect the central bank to seriously look into. While we agree that foreign exchange is not something that would happen overnight, because I was discussing with some friends and I told them that some people even assume that the exchange rate can come to a particular level by mere pronouncement. He says it's not going to be by pronouncement. As it is today, Nigeria's external reserves is less than $40 billion. In a population of over 200 million people. Harvard University, just an institution, has endowment fund of over $50 billion US. So where is even that financial chest to defend your currency in case you decide to bring it at a particular level? And that's why I said in the area of supply, Nigeria is not doing well at all. So the central bank, I expect that, knowing fully well that these are policies that would take time to really take us to the desired end. I see no reason why crises like that of naira scarcity should not be addressed as quick as possible. We need to address that. Nigerians cannot cope with that again. We cannot continue to buy our own local currency. So I expect the central bank to work so hard and get the naira scarcity out of our way. I mean, once that is done, at least we know that the forex challenge with the forex scarcity will also still be ongoing. While we also begin to look at what will now be the impact of this on the prices of goods and services. And let me show the link. Now, if Nigeria is able to bring down, or if naira appreciates in value, it will in turn mean that the cost of items, including petroleum, would also come down. But as long as that persists, as long as naira continues to fall, the cost of items, including petroleum, would continue to rise. If the government does not want it to rise beyond a particular limit, the subsidy that has been removed will have to be tactically brought back under any name or dynamics or nomenclature so that you can sell it at a particular price. Again, it's also the fact that you must also now look at the hyperinflation that we have. As a matter of fact, I begin to look at it, it's more of stagflation, because when you have high unemployment with inflation, you begin to look at stagflation. So when we have stagflation in the country, I see no reason why we should also have problem with scarcity. I know that it is not created by the present Central Bank of Nigeria, but in government or in governance, you inherit both asset and liability. And I'm happy that we have a government that admitted that. The president also mentioned it yesterday, that inherited both asset and liability. That is leadership. So we must see that the ones that can be quick wins, we must take them headlong and deliver, so that at least people can begin to feel, that sense, that relief, whichever way wants to come. So I expect the federal government to do something about our local currency scarcity. It's our currency. We don't have to. It's not anybody's currency. It's our currency. We must do something about that. While, of course, effort is also intensified on the foreign exchange crisis.
Mm-hmm. So earlier we talked about moving away from dependence on oil. I mean, recently investments in oil and gas are yielding results, especially the Port Harcourt refinery and the Dangote refinery commencing operations. What impact will this have on the economy?
Huge impact, huge impact. You know, one of the biggest disservice we have done to ourselves as a nation was that over the years, we have failed to develop our oil and gas sector, particularly at the downstream level. We had failed to develop the value chain. It's so painful. So with the coming on board of these major refineries and that of the government and other ones that are in the pipeline, it's not going to bring down the value of oil overnight. No, that's not what it's going to do. But what it's going to do is that it's going to help our forex liquidity. And when we are able to boost our current liquidity, that is the supply end of our forex, goes up. And we also check unnecessary demand on our forex, then we begin to see an appreciation in our value. And since crude oil, which is the basis for which the fuel pump, which is the basis for which the refined products will be procured by the major refineries, since it is going to be traded it's traded in dollars, not in naira. By the time your local currency appreciates, what will happen is that the pump price will also begin to reflect the appreciation in your local currency. So by the time we are able to take out that big elephant from the room, we'll begin to see that all other things will begin to fall in place. But beyond that is that this local refining, by refining locally, we're going to see a situation where more jobs will be created, revenues will come to government, will begin to now reverse some of the major spending on foreign exchange. Nigeria will now have there are so many derivatives of the crude oil. So Nigeria will now begin to have some of these derivatives to also creating jobs. You know, if you look at the Algerian National Oil Company, and how well that company was able to develop itself and develop the Nigerian economy. You understand what NNPC, even as our own local oil and gas company, national oil and gas company, can do to this. For some country, jobs can be created, but it's massive. It's a whole lot. So the coming of this refinery will also add value to our national economy. It will help us to fight this depreciation of our local currency. It will create more jobs. It will bring more revenue, and it will make Nigeria not just to be self-sustaining in production of oil and gas. Nigeria will also even become exporter of this product to other parts of the world, and we earn forex. We add value to our economy. It makes us healthier. So it's a good development that this is happening. And I would also encourage government that we should also give more support to modular refinery operators in this country, so that they can complement what the big players will do. We should also be very, very mindful of what monopoly can do to the economy of any nation. So I know the concept of modular refinery is one that should also be given the right priority, so that as the big players are playing, let also the small players begin to play, and that's how we can build a nation of our dream. That's going to be our joy. Oil should naturally be a blessing to us, and we must know that time is running out fast. The oil will not continue to be of value the way it is today. There was a time coal was the major thing powering the entire world, the manufacturing, it was a major source of energy. Today, coal is not what it used to be, it's oil and gas. But with modern technology, we should know that time is running out fast. If you look at 2021-22 reports of major oil companies of the world, they earned in hundreds of billions of dollars. Put together the profit of ExxonMobil, Global, Chevron, and their total revenue, their total profit after tax, even as a singular company, was more than what a nation like Nigeria, that is a a major exporter of products. Some of these countries, some of these companies globally, they earn over $100 billion, which Nigeria as a country does not even earn from its own product. And so these are ugly instances that must be addressed. Yeah.
Absolutely. So now that these two refineries have commenced operations, do you see fuel queues disappearing, as well as cost of petrol and especially other byproducts like diesel, kerosene reducing?
Oh, yeah, because those are the quick wins. By the time there is supply, the first thing you begin to see, one thing this will guarantee that is going to guarantee supply. Another question is, how affordable will it be to everybody? That's another question. Again, is also the fact that we must know that these are business concerns. And so the cost of their input will determine what they sell and how they sell it. But I mean, we've seen instances where, as a citizen, we are even ready to pay that premium price, but the product is not there. Is that not double jeopardy?
All right.
So it will guarantee supply. Again, it's also that that's why I said all other derivatives of the crude oil, even from the basic knowledge of our secondary school education, they told us from the refinery, by the breaking down of crude oil, you won't have nothing less than 9 other items, which would, the petrochemical products, the urea, a whole lot, tonight, which will help to develop other sectors.
All right. Yeah. Right. I apologize for intruding, but as we wrap up tonight, what other sectors do you want the president to focus on toward reviving the economy? In 30 seconds.
I want the government to look into manufacturing. Massive jobs will be created with this sector. I want government to look into agriculture. It will help us to bring down the cost of food and the cost of living. People must be able to feed for them to be able to work, for them to be able to add value. Then I want government to also look at the huge potential that exists in the marine and blue economy. And no other sector should be spared. But beyond all other things, that we need that red leadership, we need that focused leadership, we need that accountable leadership, and we also need responsible citizenry to build and move our nation forward. And I believe so strongly that this country has all it takes to take back its rightful place in the Committee of Nations.
Fantastic.
And I wish all Nigerians the very best of luck.